We're visiting with City Finance Director Toni Rhinehart today about the importance of cash reserves. You made a presentation to the city's Finance Committee kind of explaining why cash reserves are important. Could you highlight that before we start actually looking for some numbers?
We have to always think that we get most of our tax dollars in the fall of each year. So at the end of the calendar year, which is the end of our year, we are at our highest point in cash collections. But that money has got to hold us until we start getting tax money the next year.
So when somebody looks at a end-of-year audit report and they see let's just say a $20 million reserve, that $20 million is going to get the city through the rest of the year, basically, right?
Well, it gets us through most of the next year. We start getting low about this time of the year, August and September, September being our lowest month. We have some revenues that come in on a monthly basis, such as sales tax, and other taxes like that, but most of our larger revenues come in all at one time.
Okay, so I've got a chart that we're going to put up that talks, or at least shows, how that money flows through the year. Tell the folks what that chart means.
Okay, it starts at the highest point, which would be in the very beginning of the year. So we start at the end of the calendar year at our highest point, somewhere in the $24–26 million range sometimes. And then each month we make payments out to other funds, and also the tax dollars that come in for the school board, the city school board, also flow through our books, and we make payments to them on a monthly basis.
So the bottom line of that graph is about this time of year, end of August, 1st of September. Now, as I understand it, Toni, in years gone by, a number of years ago, it was about this time of year where the city, it was not unusual to have to sell tax anticipation notes. Is that right?
For many years, every year, we were required to borrow in what we call TANs, which are tax anticipation notes, and it would be somewhere in the May-June time frame. We would get that earlier in the year, and that would get us through until we started collecting taxes in the fall.
We've got another chart now up that shows going all the way back to December of 2019. It just shows the flow of cash in and out of the city's coffers. If we had to sell those tax anticipation notes today, in today's market, how much interest roughly would we pay on the course of those notes?
I would say somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000 at least, but that would be according to the rate.
So if we didn't have cash reserves to keep us going without having to borrow these tax anticipation notes, you're basically talking about funding, 2.5 to 3 positions within government.
That would be true.
All right, Toni, well, we appreciate that explanation of the cash cycle in the city of Rome. And again, if you look at a lot of other cities that do their finances on a fiscal year basis, if you were looking at their cash balances, the figures would not appear as rosy, would they?
Because our year end is December 31, we are at our highest point when we do our financial report for the annual comprehensive report. Governments that have their year end at June the 30th, they're at their lowest point, so you can't compare our statements and say that we have too much cash. Ours at our highest point, theirs at their lower point.
All right, Toni, thank you very much.
Thank you.